warm up with. All right, I'm going to invite you all to stand. I'm getting more back to my southern roots all the time. I y'all to stand. Here we go.
Please know that everyone, whether you're here or at home, is receiving all the love in our hearts, and our church family is truly priceless. And we have some visitors today, so would you mind standing as tell us your name and where you're from?
Hi, I'm Dee.
Her husband, Jim.
And you're from? I'm sorry?
Reverend Denise Landes.
Oh, welcome. Welcome. Yeah. Very happy to have you. You know, we are a loving community here, and we're here to support you in your walk with God in any way that we can. And so our sincere hope is that you'll return and become a part of our family. Our announcements today are that we have an old-fashioned unity prayer service every Sunday morning from 9 to 9:30 in the church library, or the temple library. It's a guided meditation prayer time, a great way to feel your connection to God and find that peace that passes all understanding. The prayer service is facilitated by our lovely Reverend Denise. And we're not having fellowship this summer. Oh, we also have, usually on Tuesdays, a meditation on Tuesday afternoons from 1:30, and it runs about 40 minutes, also in the Temple Library, facilitated by Reverend Denise. And we're not having fellowship in the hall this summer, so we're taking a little break. And for this week, we've had arranged for us fellowship is to be arranged and happen in the food court inside Fry's, the grocery store on R.H. Johnson, which is next to the Starbucks. And snacks will be on hand for those who'd like some. There is plus a deli and a Starbucks and other areas in the store if you'd like to pick up something else. But we'd ask you to join us after church, and then if you need a shop, you can do that on your way home. So our chaplain for the day would be me, Carol, and I'll be in the back corner if anybody has a prayer request or a gratitude that they'd like prayed for. And our board member of the day would be lovely Linda, who's back from her vacation. Yay. So if you have any questions about the church, you can check with Miss Linda Thomas. So, would you please join me saying our mission statement? It's on your bulletin, I believe on the first page. Together. Our mission is to provide a prosperous and loving community by connecting to God through prayer and following the teachings of Christ. believe God is here within me, creating my highest good. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give thanks for your blessing for being here with each and every one of us. That your love and your grace and your acceptance and your understanding of each one of us as an individual. That you bring healing when needed, comfort when we're distraught, peace in times of anxiety, and you share our joy with us when we're laughing and gay and happy and having a good time. You're always with us then too, not just when things are difficult. We know that wherever we are, whatever time it is, day or night, any day in the year, we're never ever alone. We always have you with us. You're here to heal and prosper and bless us in every way that we are open to receiving. We give thanks for your grace working in and through us as we interact with our fellow human beings. When we look at the world outside, we say, it doesn't necessarily look very nice. Things are kind of messy, but God's at work. God's in charge. All's in divine order. It will be resolved. Things will get back in order. When they're all messed up, God puts things back in order. We say thank you, God, for your presence working in and through all Breed community, every country, all the leaders in the world, and in each and every one of us. Every child, every adult, every person. And so it is. Amen. And the daily word for today is truth. I know the truth, and that makes me free. Whatever I may face today, I carry the understanding of myself as a divine being and look at any challenge or appearance of lack or limitation with clarity. The truth about my body and mind is wholeness. I'm an expression of divine life. The truth about my prosperity is that I'm abundantly blessed. I claim divine ideas in prayer and know the Lord's abundance. The truth about my relationships is all people are the embodiment of divine love. I'm attuned to the love that flows in and through me, and I express harmony and compassion. I know the truth about me, my friends and family, and everyone in the world. As I express this truth and see it in others, I'm experience blessings beyond measure. The scripture for today comes from John chapter 8, verse 32. And you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free.
Jesus, from the time he was born till the time he died on the cross, had a wonderful understanding of the power power of prayer. And he gave it to us to use and to create amazing things ourselves. For Jesus says, these things I do and even greater things you can do through the power of prayer. Now I added that last part. Through the power of prayer. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore started the whole unity movement based upon prayer. They both healed themselves from things that the doctor said could not be cured. And they healed themselves through prayer. And their whole ministry started with people coming to see them because they knew they were powerful prayers. And all the healing that they did, they would have people lined up for miles waiting to pray with Myrtle Fillmore. And somehow, in this sequence of time, we've kind of forgotten how powerful prayer can be. Now, prayer is not just a wish list of what we're wanting God to resolve in our lives. Prayer is so much more than that. Prayer is that connection to God, that communication with God, that knowing that God is in our life, that spiritual presence is deep within us, just waiting for us to turn to it, just waiting for us to be a part of that infinite flow of spiritual energy. So I have an acronym for prayer that I'm going to use today, starting with the letter P, saying that prayer is all about knowing and living in that presence of God. That beautiful presence of energy, connecting with it. Because we can't create anything new in our lives if we don't connect to this beautiful energy that is within us. To make that connection, to know God. Because a lot of times we want God to answer our prayers without getting to know who the person is that is answering them. Right? We spend time in prayer, talking all the way through it, telling God what we want, exactly how we want it answered, not giving God even a second to answer us, not giving him a second to communicate with us. This is what we want, God. I want the red box with the pink bow, and I want to be able to know that's the answer to my prayer, and I want it my way. Anybody else do that? Want it my way. I want it done on this date, and I want it mostly now. Are we telling God what to do? Are we telling God how to do his job? There can be so much more greater things for each one of us if we would just open our heart and our mind and listen and feel that power and that presence that is within each one of us. So we have to practice the power and presence of God. Because I truly believe our purpose on this planet is to consciously know God. Consciously know God. See God working in our lives. See God's greater plans for us. But that's never going to happen if we don't practice it. We have to spend time in prayer and meditation and see what amazing things will happen. See what opportunities come to you. See what doors open. See who God brings into your life to create whatever that heart's desire is that you're trying to create. But you have to have that connection first. You have to have that connection, and you have to be able to be silent. To be silent in that connection with God. To give him an opportunity to implant those ideas, to give you the guidance. Because all the answers you could ever need are within you right now. Not tomorrow, they're in you right now. But we have to spend time in that silence so those answers can be downloaded, so you can hear that intuitive voice, so you can see the signs the universe is trying to give you. We get signs all the time, and most of the time we ignore them. So we have to spend time getting to know God, getting to feel what that feeling is when you're connected to that divine energy, getting that feeling of peace, even though you are surrounded by chaos, happens when you spend time in the power and presence of God. And the only way that is going to happen is to spend time in prayer and meditation. The R stands for releasing. Because like I just said, we like to tell God how to solve our problems, right? We do. So we can say, okay, God, this is how I would like to see it, but I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let my fingers off the steering wheel. And if you have a greater way, a greater answer for me, please, please do that in and through me today. So I'm not telling you, you can't plan. You can plan. But when you're done planning, say, okay, God, here is my plan. But if you have a greater one, please go ahead and do that. Yeah. That's not so easy, is it? I know it's not easy. I had no idea how I was going to become a minister. I was a CPA. Accounting was my life for 40 years. And I was doing all this ministerial work on the side. I went through seminary, and I thought, I don't have a church. I don't even know how to get a church. I don't know the steps to becoming a real minister. Well, guess what? Somebody knew. I had one person tell me 3 times I needed to come to Unity a surprise. Now, I lived on the east side of town at that time, and every time I was told that, I said, no, it's too far away. So the last time she tells me to do this, the 4th time, she puts the Unity Surprise newsletter right down in front of my face, and she says, Denise, do you get the message? And I said, okay, I'm going to go to Unity Surprise. I went there the next Sunday, and I even had a friend that wanted to come with me. So we went, and from the moment I walked in that door, all my steps were given to me. Reverend Billy put me on the Unity Surprise board. She talked me into giving some Sunday lessons. And I have to think back then, when she gave me those opportunities, I was so excited to get it that she had the faith that I could get up here and give a lesson. And on my drive to the church, I was, why did she let me do this? I don't want to get up there on a stage. Oh, God, take this away from me. Well, look where I am today. So God knew the way to get me up here. I didn't have a plan, but I'm here. So what is it today? What is the challenge for you today? Are you willing to go to prayer? Are you willing to maybe have your plan, but surrender it to God? Because God has a greater plan. We didn't know we would end up in this beautiful temple, but here we are. That was God's plan, not mine. I never thought about going to a Jewish temple. That was not an idea that crossed my mind. But somebody gave it to me, and I took off with it. So we have to learn to be in that power, that presence, to receive the answers that we need My faith is not with God. My faith is on the outer world, saying, I don't see what I want happening. I'm trusting somebody outside myself to create what I want, when that's not where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to put our faith and trust in God. Look at these people in the Bible. Moses had to go through 10 awful things. And he still put his faith in God. And even when he got through those 10 things, he had the Red Sea to deal with. Look how strong his faith was in God. He didn't give up during any of those 10 plagues. He didn't get up when they were trapped by the Red Sea. He kept his faith in God. And yes, they got their freedom. Now, did he know how all that was going to happen? No, he did not. I'm sure he had a plan, but I'm sure it wasn't going through 10 plagues and crossing the Red Sea. So we have to get our fingers off the plan and let God do his job. And put our faith in it. To put our faith and trust in it. You should say a prayer once and be done with it. And know it's done. To know it's going to manifest. In God's way and in God's time. Because that's how the universe works. And the A in prayer stands for asking. I know people ask me, well, if God knows everything, why would we ever need to ask? Well, to me, asking is claiming. Sometimes we have to claim that we're a divine child of God. Sometimes we have to claim that we are abundantly prosperous. Sometimes we have to claim that we are healthy. Sometimes we have to use our words, our powerful imagination, to create the desire that we want. Right? That makes sense, right? Yes, God may know I want a healthy body, but do I claim that? When I'm in pain, am I claiming that I have a healthy body? Probably not. But you should be, because there's some part of your body that's working just fine. You can praise and give thanks for whatever's working beautifully, and know that God is working in you every minute, healing, renewing, restoring you to the true temple of God that you are. But you have to claim it. It's never going to happen until we claim the truth about ourselves. So that's what A is all about. Claiming, asking for the truth. Why? I have a hard time with why. But here we go. Why is you? You have to change in consciousness in order to resolve whatever issue you're trying to get through. Whatever state of consciousness created the problem you're in is not the state of consciousness that is going to resolve it. So you and I have to decide to do what? To pray, right? We have to shut off the negative energy. That's the number one thing. Because normally when we're praying, it's because something negative has happened, right? We want something to change. Well, if we want it to change, who does it have to change with first? Us. You. Me. If I'm praying for a healthy body, I have to stop the negative talk about my body. If I'm wanting abundance in my life, I have to stop the negative talk about not having anything. If I want a harmonious relationship with someone else, I need to quit talking about all the evil things that they're doing. Right? It starts with us. Something in us has to change. And we don't like change, right? Most of us. We don't like doing that. Sometimes we like being the victim because we get a lot of attention that way. When I was getting divorced, I could tell you story after story about how awful my ex-husband was. And yes, going through my divorce was not an easy thing. But had I changed my attitude, had I said, oh, we just don't get along, and, God is in the midst of this, and we'll get through it, without bashing him, I probably would have got through the divorce a much happier person. But that's not the path I took. So we get opportunities after opportunity to use that power of prayer that we have to change our lives, to change our thinking. And sometimes we don't like that. Sometimes when we're in pain, we want the whole world to know we're in pain. But it's never going to change very easily until we stop the negative energy. We stop that negative wave that keeps us from experiencing the miracles that God has for each and every one of us. So let's get excited about this power of prayer that can do amazing things. Let's let go of the negativity. Let's let go of the control and let God do his job within us. And then we are able to get to that letter E, where life becomes a little bit effortless and in ease. Things just seem to happen for us. The right people just seem to show up in life. Right? Sometimes money, a check you didn't know about, shows up in the mail. Right? You never know how God is going to work in and through your life. There are infinite ways. But you have to be open to that. And then life becomes effortless. That's what I'm for. You guys want effortless?
Yes.
I'm excited about effortless. Absolutely. So you know what? I'm going to spend some time in prayer. And the R is the realization. The realization, when you spend time in prayer, you know you've done a good job when you end in a place of peace. When you get that sense of peace at the end of the prayer, you know it's done. You have that realization that whatever you're trying to create is done. And that's where some of us mess up this prayer process. Because we don't believe it's done. So we have to look under the dirt and at the roots and see if it's growing or not. And what we do is we have to go all the way back to step number 1 because we didn't put our faith in God. Because we didn't see the result we wanted. We decided, no, it's not manifesting. No, it's not happening. God's not hearing me. God doesn't know who I am. God has abandoned me. I know I've been there. God has abandoned me. When I was a small child, I didn't have a very good relationship with my mother. And I used to pray to God every night. All I wanted was a mom that I could talk to and laugh with and cry with. And in my mind, that was not a big request. That's pretty simple. But I never got it, okay? And it wasn't until I was 40 years old that I realized I had tons of women around me who treated me like their daughter. I had tons of women around me who were treating me like that mom that I had pictured in my mind. But I didn't recognize it because it wasn't my mother. But God has sent me, woman after woman, to be there, to love and nurture and to do all the things that I thought a mom should do. But he wasn't answering my prayer because it didn't come from my mom. Do you see how tunnel vision we get? Sometimes in life there's people who can't give us what we're needing, but somebody else can. And God will send those people around, but do we recognize them? Do you see them as the answer? Do you see them as being the answer to your prayer? Because for 40 years, I didn't. And was angry at God for all that time, when God's probably laughing at me, how many women did you want me to send around to know that you had a mother figure right beside you all the time? And it's the truth. It didn't matter what job I changed, where I moved, where I went, there was always a person there who represented my mom. Did God answer my prayer? Absolutely. Did he answer it the way I wanted initially? No. But sometimes that can't happen. And we don't know that. We don't know that the person we're wanting to reconcile with can't give us what we want. So God sends somebody else. That's that whole thing of realization. Knowing in your mind that it was done. Well, obviously, as a child, I knew it was done. I just didn't see it was coming from a different place. And of course, we have other stories in the Bible about prayer. You're not going to find them in the New Testament so much because Jesus knew how to pray. Jesus had that connection. He knew who he was, and he knew how to do it. In the Old Testament, you always have all these stories about people who believe and have faith in God, and somebody else wants them to bow down to them. There's a story in the Bible about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were all Hebrews. They were all believing in one God. They were all praying 3 times a day. They all had that connection to God. Except one king wanted them to bow down to a golden idol. And if they didn't bow down to this idol, these beliefs from the outer world, they were going to get thrown in a fiery furnace. And my question is, how many times does this outer world scream at us to bow down to it? Screams at us that we're less than we are. Screams at us that there's something to be afraid of. Screams at us to pay attention to all the awful things out there in the world. And are we bowing down to it? Because Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego refused to do that. And metaphysically, they represent light, power, and love. All those qualities we get when we do prayer and meditation, right? That's where they were. So the king has the furnace turned up 7 times hotter than it normally is, knowing they're going to fry in this furnace. So people come and get them. The people that picked them up and threw them in the furnace actually burned and died. But those 3 boys that got thrown in the furnace were not touched by it. The king looked in the furnace and he couldn't believe what he saw. They were all 3 still in there without a flame touching them. And they saw a 4th person in there who looked like the face of God. That's what happens when we stay in that place, that presence of knowing that God is with us. We are protected. And they weren't touched. Not a hair burned on their head. Because they stayed in that place of oneness with God. And they didn't let anybody else tell them differently. All the characters in the Bible are that way. Every character goes through a major challenge, but they won't bow down to the outer world that wants to tell them they're less than. They won't bow down to the people that say we live in a world of lack and limitation. They won't bow down to anything but the truth. And the truth is within you. And the truth is that you are a divine expression of God, capable of overcoming anything. So let's get together in this. Let's get together and know that we're strong and powerful prayers, okay? Are we strong and powerful prayers?
Yes.
Are we going to spend time in prayer meditation getting to know God?
Yes.
Are we going to overcome every challenge that we face?
Yes.
Yes, because you And in every story, do I have time for one more? No. There's another story about Daniel getting thrown in the lion's den, right? For the same reason that he wouldn't bow down and pray to something that has power out there in the world. And he believed in God, and he believed that it was within him, and the lion's mouth would not open while he was in the den. There's the power of God. So why don't we all get that same power going? Why don't we all start every day, maybe twice a day, spend time in prayer and meditation, getting to know God, getting to connect with that energy, getting to feel that energy, that power, that presence, that calmness, that even when things are crazy around you, you can stay in that place of peace because you know who's in charge. And it's not me, and it's not you, it's God. So let's do this. Because the world needs us right now, right? The world is pretty crazy out there, right? They're wanting us to bow down to some other kind of God and believe in the negativity of the world. Well, we're not doing that anymore. Not today. Today we're changing our mind. We, me, you, are changing. And we're going to choose to be positive. We're going to choose to create an amazing place. We're going to choose to heal the world. And we're going to do it through the power of prayer. So let's go into meditation. So let's close our eyes. And in this moment, we choose to let go of the negativity. We choose to stop believing whatever the world's trying to tell us. And today we claim the truth that I am a divine being of God. That beautiful energy of God lives right here within my own heart and my own soul. I take this time to feel that energy, to feel that pure love of God that is within me. I can feel the warm energy. I can feel the strength and the power within me. And I just allow that beautiful power of faith in God to take over in me. My faith is in God. I allow that faith and that trust in God to create amazing things in and through me. For I choose God. I choose to open my heart and my mind and say, yes, God, here I am. Use me to create good in the world. Use me to create miracles. Use me to be your messenger of light and love. For Jesus tells us that we are the light of the world and that we are here to let our light shine. So we just take this moment to see ourselves as exactly that. As that beautiful being of light. That radiant light that shines so brightly for the world to see. So we take this beautiful vision of light into the silence, allowing that light to radiate and to surround our world in love. ourselves, become aware of our surroundings. We wrap on that light under the soles of our feet so we're grounded. And we always remember this beautiful power of prayer, this beautiful connection that we have to God. Or when we choose to put our faith in Him, amazing things can happen. And so it is. Amen.
Blade of grass grows up through the ground. Clouds roll across the sky without a sound. The sparrow greets the sunrise with a song. And without a doubt we belong. Wake up in the morning with a heartbeat. Open up the fridge and we find food to eat. Baby hears her mom's lullaby. And by the way, God says hi. All the little miracles that we never seem to see, like a handshake, a wave, or a smile. Take them all for granted, but they're meant for you and me. It's just God's way of saying it's been a while. Grandma stories teach us who we are. Family is the greatest gift by far. No one really knows the reason why. These moments are the way God says hi. All the little miracles that we never seem to see, like a handshake, a wave, or a smile. Let them all for granted, but they're meant for you and me. It's just God's way of saying it's been a while. The days get so busy and we forget the how and why, till the time comes